All right, let's talk about financial independence. What if it wasn't really about quitting your job, but about owning a system? Today, we're diving into a framework called the Freedom System. And its whole argument is that real freedom, it actually comes from structure and ownership, not just a bigger paycheck. So how on earth does that work? Let's get into it.
So everything in this framework kicks off with one big question. What does freedom really mean to you? You know, for most of us, it's kind of this fuzzy idea, maybe just less stress or something like that. But this system, it argues that real freedom isn't just a feeling, it's something you build. It's a tangible, engineered outcome you get from developing a team and achieving real financial independence.
Okay, so the system basically frames this as a choice between two roads. On one side, you've got the employee path. It's familiar, right? You get that steady paycheck, but there's a catch. Your ceiling is controlled by someone else. Then there's the ownership path. This one's way more uncertain. Think of it like climbing a mountain instead of just cruising on a paved road. It's tougher, for sure, but it's also presented as the only way to get that unbounded growth and what the system calls real freedom.
And that brings us right to the core philosophy of this whole thing. It's all about redefining what freedom actually is. It's a huge mental shift, really, from thinking about just having a job to the idea of owning a system.
So what is this true freedom they're talking about? Well, let me tell you what it's not. It's not about just sitting on a beach sipping a drink and doing nothing. Nope. According to this model, it's an active pursuit. It's the result you get from building disciplined systems that create income and make an impact, even when you're not physically clocking in. It's all about ownership, not just being absent.
This quote right here, this is what connects all the dots. Think about it. It says, you can't have freedom without ownership. Okay? But you can't get ownership without discipline. And where does that discipline come from? Purpose. It creates this really powerful chain reaction. Your purpose fuels the discipline you need to build ownership, and that ownership becomes the bedrock for the freedom the system is all about.
All right, so if that's the philosophy, what's the actual blueprint? You know, the nuts and bolts. This next part is all about how the system takes those big, inspiring ideas and turns them into a repeatable process that anyone can follow for growth.
Okay, so the process is laid out in these 4 phases. Pretty straightforward. First, you learn it. You've got to master the products, the platforms, the whole mindset. Then, you apply it. You get out there, take real action, and build your confidence. But here's the pivot point. Phase 3, duplicate it. This is where you shift from just doing the work yourself to teaching others how to do what you've done. And that leads to Phase 4, scale it, where you're developing leaders and building whole teams. It's a journey from being a student to becoming a multiplier.
And the economic engine that powers this whole thing, it's something called leveraged income. Now, think about a normal job. You trade an hour of your time for a set amount of dollars. That's it. Leveraged income is totally different. The goal is to build something where the effort you put in today keeps creating results and income for you tomorrow. It's the reward you get for duplication and leadership, not just for your own personal hustle.
So how does this leveraged income actually get structured? Well, it's broken down into 4 distinct layers. It all starts with personal production. That's the direct commissions you make from your own work. But then it starts to expand. Next, you have overrides, which is a percentage you earn from your team's production. Then there are renewals, which is that passive residual income from policies that pays out over time. And finally, you have leadership bonuses, rewards for helping develop other successful leaders. See how each layer moves you further and further away from just trading your own time for money?
Okay, let's dig a little deeper into this whole idea of duplication. The source material actually calls this the real engine for growth. And here's a cool way to think about it. It's like compound interest, but for leadership instead of money. Now, the way this system grows teams is built on a really important distinction. It's about attraction, not persuasion. The whole idea is that you're not supposed to be out there chasing people down or pressuring them. Instead, the goal is to live the vision so authentically that the right people just naturally get drawn to the mission. It's a pull, not a push. So how do you actually do that? Well, the main tool for this attraction model is a pretty simple story formula. It's a 3-act play, really. Act 1, where you were. You're just honest about your starting point. Act 2, what you discovered. This is how the system opened a new door for you. And Act 3, where you're going. You paint a clear picture of the future you're building. It's a simple framework, but it's designed to help you share your story in a way that feels super authentic and relatable.
And this whole strategy gets boiled down into what they call the 3C approach. First, you connect. That means building genuine relationships first and foremost. Then you cast vision. You share the bigger picture, the mission, and this last one is absolutely crucial. You coach. You don't just enroll new partners, you actively equip them to win. It's about empowerment, not just recruitment.
You know, all of this we've talked about, it's all designed to lead to something bigger than just a paycheck. This is about building leaders and creating a real legacy. It's about making that critical shift from just being a producer to becoming a true multiplier of others. And this is the training cycle that makes it all happen. It's a really simple but powerful loop. First you learn, then you do. But then you teach others what you just did. And finally, that act of teaching transforms you into someone who can lead. It's this self-reinforcing cycle that just keeps the whole engine of duplication moving forward.
And this quote, man, this really drives the point home. If you have to do everything yourself, you don't own a business, you own a job. That's a huge distinction. The system is basically saying that if you skip those teach and lead steps, you haven't actually built a business. You've just created a more stressful, high-pressure job for yourself. That's definitely not the path to freedom.
So what does a leader actually look like inside this system? Well, they're defined by 5 key traits. You've got vision. You have to know where you're going. You need integrity and accountability as your foundation. You absolutely have to have empathy to connect with people. And the glue that holds it all together? Grit. That's the resilience you need to keep going when things get tough.
The entire leadership philosophy here really boils down to one core idea: servant leadership. And don't mistake that for being weak, it's the exact opposite. It's about using your strength to serve and lift others up. The model really poses a simple but powerful test for any leader. Are people better because they follow you? Wow, that's a question to sit with.
All right, so we've covered the what and the how, but now we get to the most important part, the why. What's the purpose behind all of this? The system is anchored in 3 core values that are supposed to be the fuel for all the hard work and structure we've been talking about.
So here they are, the 3 timeless pillars. First, there's faith, which is positioned as the anchor that gives you stability through the ups and downs. Then there's family, which is the reason, the motivation for all the work. And finally, there's the future, which is all about the legacy you're creating for the next generation. These 3 things together, that's the why that's supposed to fuel everything else.
In this quote, it really reinforces that hierarchy of values. Your business is important, but your family is eternal. It makes it crystal clear that the business is just a vehicle. It's an important one, for sure, but it's meant to serve the ultimate priority, which this system defines as your family. And really, this is what it all boils down to. The stated goal is to completely flip the script. Instead of you spending your life serving your money, you build a system where your money serves your mission. And that mission? It's defined by those pillars we just talked about: faith, family, and the future.
So, the whole explainer really leaves us with this one final provocative question to ask ourselves. Who could my example inspire if I actually went all in? It totally reframes success, doesn't it? It's not just about what you can achieve for yourself, but about the ripple effect you can create. It's a call to think beyond what you can gain and to start thinking about who you could inspire. A pretty powerful thought to end on.